Welcome to Vigilant News for January 5th, 2022. My name is Justin, founder of Stillness in the Storm, and I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, Ryan, founder of Underground Newswire. Ryan, how's it going today?
It's going fabulous, Justin. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. We got a lot of awesome news for you guys. First story that we'll be covering today is an announcement from Trump regarding January 6th. We have some information about Joe Rogan and how he competes with respect to viewership to mainstream media. We have a Brazilian reporter who had a heart attack live on television. And we have Joe Biden staring blankly into the press conference in a kind of strange, almost drugged up kind of way. I'm not really sure what was going on with that. And then we got a little bonus announcement from Trump on education. So before we get started with that, don't forget to check the description. We have our new Vigilant News channel on Telegram. We're posting more stuff in there. Definitely go ahead and check that out. We also have our big stream tomorrow, the mega stream, infamous mega stream. It's going to be 5 p.m. tomorrow, right here on Rumble.
On the 1-year anniversary of the January 6th charade.
That's right. So we're going to have some stuff covered from there. We got a lot of cool things. We're going to get into an amazing book of the week about vaccine studies, a bunch of really good stuff. We're also going to talk a little bit about the False Memory Foundation. And we also want to remind you to go to stillnessinthestorm.com/donate or check the links in the description to support our work. We'll have our subscribe star there, and you can send us one-time donations as well. So let's go ahead and jump into our first story today. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Well, Donald Trump, as some of you may know, was set to make an important announcement tomorrow, 1-year anniversary of January 6th. There's a lot of speculation as to what that was going to be. A lot of people seem to think it has to do with his social media company, which goes live in a little more than a month. But he canceled it at the last minute. Laura Ingraham and who was it? Lindsey Graham are taking credit for getting him to cancel it. I don't know why, but here's what he had to say on it. Quote, "In light of the total bias and dishonesty of the January 6th unselect committee of Democrats, 2 failed Republicans, and the fake news media, I am canceling the January 6th press conference at Mar-a-Lago on Thursday. And instead, we'll discuss many of those important topics at my rally on Saturday, January 15th in Arizona. It will be a big crowd. What has become more and more obvious to all is that the lamestream media will not report the facts that Nancy Pelosi and the Capitol's Sergeant at Arms denied requests to the DC National Guard and military to be present at the Capitol. Their emails and correspondence with the Department of Defense exist, but the media won't ask for this evidence or report the truth," the statement added. And the statement goes on. I highly recommend that you read the rest if you value what this man has to say. It's pretty interesting. I must say, you gotta love a president who is willing to use terminology like lamestream media.
That's so true. Yeah, I mean, the big point to remember, guys, Operation Mockingbird. Huge operation, CIA operation developed by the globalists to push fake news on the people. And it's a coordinated industrial grade thing. This is not like some rogue agents who are doing this. You know, this is coordinated across multiple media agencies with the intelligence services across multiple nations to impact an entire globe. And if you need any proof of that, look at the coordinated effort we've seen with respect to COVID and the COVID response.
And it goes back like some 80 years, right? Like, I think our grandparents are younger than the Operation Mockingbird. So
that's right.
Interesting to consider.
Certainly is. Well, for our next story, we have, let's see. Joe Rogan podcast reaches millions more than cable news report. Let me go ahead and pull up the article. This is really important to consider because a lot of people seem to think that the mainstream media is wildly popular, that they have total market share with respect to how many eyes and ears are listening to them on a regular basis, but they're actually a lot less popular than we would like to think. And this data will help us understand that. Joe Rogan has more than 3 times as many people per episode as his next greatest competitor, the Tucker Carlson Tonight show on Fox News, according to newly released data. The Joe Rogan Experience reaches a reported average of 11 million per podcast episode. That's a lot of people. Fox News reigns in the most watched cable news network. So mind you, Fox News isn't like CNN. Fox News is, with respect to cable news networks, very popular. But even they they're only getting 3.21 million viewers on average. And so that goes to show you how much of a difference we're talking about. So Joe Rogan gets up to 3 times as many viewers as the top rated news network, Fox News.
Oh yeah, I think it might even be 4 times almost.
Yeah. So conservative reporter Luke Rudowski pointed out Rogan's larger audience using 2021 quarter third rankings. The most recent data from the ad week is slightly off from Q3, but overall remains the same. Quote, "This is why they're afraid of Rogan," Rudowski tweeted with a graph comparing the most popular cable news show. So as you can see, this graph like really nails it in. I mean, the Joe Rogan is blowing most of these networks out of the way. So prime time, CNN prime time average. So when CNN is going to get the most viewers, they don't even compare. Like that's 0.82 million. We've got 11 million with Rogan. So massive amount. And I think what it shows is that, I mean, there's a lot we could say about this, but I think what it shows with respect to news and information is that people really want to hear real people talking about real issues in a real way. You know, most people don't want to see sanitized information, at least people that are interested in interacting with reality itself. So that's really good news. And one little thing I thought was funny that I was thinking about when I saw that is, you know, we have all this fancy technology. We got all these new networks. They got this fancy, B-roll and graphics and all this amazing stuff, right? But when it comes down to it, what ends up being most popular is 2 guys essentially sitting around a fire talking. And if you think about the way information was transmitted from person to person back in antiquity, so across time, it was people sitting around talking to each other. I mean, what did the Greeks do? Why is Plato in his writing so popular? Because essentially it depicts learned men and women speaking and people listening. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Cool. Well, with that, let's go ahead and move to our next article. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Before that, I'd like to make a retraction and a correction. I said Mockingbird was 80 years old. It was actually the concept that was eventually put forth in the 70s as Operation Mockingbird was first conceived in the 40s. It wasn't actually implemented until the 70s. So just a small correction. Sorry about that.
My pleasure. Hey, well, let's emphasize this. We actually care about reporting truth. So if we make a mistake, we will let you know.
I only really care about reporting whatever I believe to be true.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense. I can see that.
So the next story is a 36-year-old Brazilian reporter collapses and suffers cardiac arrest during live TV broadcast. And if you've been watching our reports, you've seen all kinds of people, particularly athletes, dropping in mid-game. So this is just another, I guess, another notch in the old wall. We have a guy named Rafael Silva, 36-year-old presenter for Journal das 7. He fainted and collapsed while covering a news story. He was quickly attended by the Mobile Emergency Care Service, or SAMU, and taken to the nearest hospital. According to the report, he suffered 5 cardiac arrests on the way to the hospital.
Mackerel.
He has been admitted to the intensive care unit at Humanitas Hospital in Varina since Monday. So he's still alive. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Here from someone familiar with what's going on, there's a quote. He talked to his mother, his brother, even asked to go to the bathroom. His recovery is the best possible. We are happy with this news, Cadu Lopez said during the Alterosa Alerta show on Tuesday. So we have a clip here. Here's a picture of him receiving after receiving his booster.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of times up, as you see the date there, December 28th. And then just a week later, we have this happening. And we have a short clip here.
Let's go ahead and take a look.
Olha, dá uma olhada nessa notícia. A Polícia Militar foi chamada na zona rural de Ribeirão Vermelho. Sabe por quê? Na zona rural de Ribeirão Vermelho. Sabe por quê?
My goodness. Disturbing.
It looks just like the cardiac arrest we saw with the athletes.
Yeah, the myocarditis. We have a link in the description for our latest video where we get into that. Yeah, pretty shocking stuff. As a matter of fact, this will be a good segue into what we're going to talk about tomorrow in the big stream. I'm going to work as hard as I can to go back to the YouTube friendly, YouTube non-friendly stream content. So hopefully that'll be up and running tomorrow. And for the YouTube non-friendly content, we have some very good information you're definitely going to want to stick around for with respect to the vaccines, COVID, things like this. There's one of them, a very prestigious doctor I was able to find on YouTube. He's got very popular, and he's been reporting on some things that the people injecting these vaccines should be doing, and the failure to do this is likely causing a lot of adverse events.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I won't blow the story too early on that one, but definitely come tomorrow. You're going to want to learn about this, and especially if you got friends and family who want to insist on getting the jab, they really need to know about this, because a small piece of advice to the person administering a vaccine could literally save a person's life. That's how important this information is. So tomorrow, again, check that out. We're going to have the mega stream. So let's go ahead and jump to our next story. We're going to go to Joe Biden stares blankly at a screen. And in other news, the sky is blue. I mean, this is a kind of, this image, let me see. If there's probably potentially thousands of Joe Biden staring blankly in a confused manner out there. He might be well known for this long into antiquity. Like in 10,000 years, we're just going to see like etchings of Joe Biden staring blank into a screen, and people thinking he's like a messiah or something like that.
Yeah, across the multiverse, there are many Joe Bidens staring blankly into space.
Exactly. So when President Joe Biden does not want to answer a question, or does not know the answer to a question, it often shows. That was the case on Monday when a reporter called him on his previous claim that he was going to issue 500 million free at-home COVID tests. Quote, "When will Americans get those free COVID tests, sir?" a reporter said at the end of Biden's press conference briefing, to which the president just stared blankly ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Mr. Biden actually did.
And when will Americans get those free COVID tests, sir?
Are you going to break up the big four meat packers, Mr. President?
Thank you.
Like what? I don't necessarily think he's doing it because he's not capable of answering the question. I think he's doing it because he's been specifically asked not to answer the question. That's kind of what I'm thinking,
That feels right to me.
So, that if you look at his face, he's hearing. He can obviously hear, I would argue, to hear the questions, but he's touching his mouth, which often, ever seen somebody talk and they put their hand over their mouth? Here, I'll show the screen. They put their hand over the mouth like this. It's because they're doing a subconscious bodily action that essentially tells their body not to talk, and it helps them like hold their lips. And this is something a lot of body language experts have talked about, like body language ghost. I think that's the one that's really popular.
Yeah.
So good stuff there.
I did send you something that I think we should mention.
Yeah. Okay.
Honorable mention for the evening. Maybe you guys are familiar with the Bogdanov twins. They passed away, unfortunately. I believe it was related to COVID. These guys, now you want to go down a weird, freaky rabbit hole, look into these guys. I'm sure a lot of you probably are already familiar with this duo, but
these guys are, holy mackerel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even, I thought this was the same person. I didn't know what the heck this was.
Yeah, no,
these are real people.
These are freaky brothers, and there's a range of conspiracy theories regarding these boys here, all the way leading up to that. The Rothschilds directly take their orders from them,
Really?
among other crazy things.
Wow, this is what they originally looked like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they were originally handsome dudes, and now then after their plastic surgery, they're extremely handsome.
Oh yeah, very handsome in the same way that a Ken doll's handsome. I see these photos all the time, and you go to a website and you see like this. Who is this celebrity? It's people like this. Well,
passed away, COVID-related death.
Oh, really? They both died at the same time, I guess.
So, yeah.
Igor
Or maybe it was just one of them,
Bogdanov, the French TV star known for his eccentric personality and appearance, has died at 72.
Just days after his brother.
Oh, wow. I wonder if it's related to the jab that they might have both gotten.
Well, I think that they're actually secret rulers of the cabal, and they had to fake their death a la Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, right? Of course. Seriously.
I like to think that them and Jeffrey are chilling out a yacht somewhere, smoking and stogies, sucking down chili dogs.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely what's happening, no doubt. Well, all right. Well, for our last story, actually, I'm going to pull it right back up. It was a really quick one. There was a tweet that Trump made. Well, not tweet, but post. I'm assuming he's doing this through his the social media platform. This is Gab. Gab has been reposting Trump posts for, I want to say, since 2016. But although Trump wasn't kicked off until 2020, I believe, with respect to Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Okay.
Yeah. And so this is a post from Trump on Gab. You can find all his posts on Gab for the most part. What is happening in Chicago with all the school closures is devastating. Trump continues, Democrats are congregating in mass tomorrow to fan the flames of the divide they created, while our kids sit at home watching their futures vanish. It must stop. Educate our children in person or give every dollar spent to education directly to the students so they can get out of these failing government schools. Man, there's so much packed into this. I think we could talk about. One little thing I'll mention here is that people like to say we live in a free market economy. That is not true at all. We do not live in a free market
On
economy.
paper, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we live in what's substantively a socialist economy, because money goes into state run or supported agencies for the most part. Not have all the dollars, but a lot of them do. And education is one of them. If they really wanted to give families and children the resources they need to pursue any education that they wanted, they do exactly what Trump is suggesting, or at least to a certain extent. You'd be able to, as a student, say, hey, I want to go do this and do that, and you get money to access that resource. But instead, the only educational systems that are receiving funding to a certain extent are the ones that are essentially statist organizations that are helping further the agenda of statism. So, we're at a time, at a really beautiful opportunity in our history where the illusion of fairness and equal access to education is dissolving, just like with the medical industry, with this whole vaccine mandate thing. So it's unsettling to know that these problems exist, but it's a good thing, because there's no way we're going to be able to solve the problem if we, the people, don't know it exists and we're not willing to do something about it. And I think a return to what we might say multifamily at-home schooling is the solution, or one of the solutions.
Yeah,
So.
I have some good friends back home in Michigan. They and some of their friends created a network of homeschooling where, one day all the kids meet at one house, the next day they're at another. They do a lot of stuff out in nature. They learn how to forage, all kinds of good stuff. And I think that's the future of schooling. Maybe in more of a capacity where they have actual schoolhouses instead of just people's homes. But even if not, it's preferable to a statist kind of education. So
Definitely. I mean, a lot of the education system that we know of came from the Prussian model, and the Prussian model was essentially designed to create mindless drones who would follow orders and never question anything. So we don't need any of that anymore.
I would like to plug one last thing. We have been talking with some folks at the Operation Underground Railroad, and we actually watched a documentary the other night that was very riveting and very informative. I'll plug it in the Telegram so you guys can check it out if you'd like. It's called Operation Tucson. It's about child trafficking and just the people who are actually not government. These people are private. It's like a private sector child trafficking, child slavery, like watchdog group that actually goes out and conducts raids and saves children. So the Atlantic ran a hit piece on them, and even just reading the intro paragraphs of that article is enough to get your blood boiling. But we're going to be doing a lot more. We're going to actually try to deconstruct that article. And I'll throw the link to the film in the Telegram, and you can check it out if you want to.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm also going to be interviewing some folks from that probably here next week or so. Well, we're still talking right now. So lots of good stuff coming out about that. And I'm probably, reminded me as you said that I want to break down some of the mind control programming, the spin programming that they put in some of these hit pieces with respect to Dr. Robert Malone and the Forbes hit piece that came out earlier this week. That is just, you want an education on how you're essentially being mind controlled and pushing social programming. That's a really good example. So we'll try to work that in tomorrow's stream. So With that, last plug, everybody, I'm still doing Romello funding. If you own a business and you need funding, you want to buy a building, you want to expand your business, you're having cash flow problems, get in touch with me. Check the description. Look for Romello, R-E-M-E-L-O. Send me an email and I can help you out. With that, don't forget to check the stream tomorrow. We're going to start at 5 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to have the big mega stream. Lots of awesome information we're going to be covering. Definitely going to want to check that out. And with that, we'll see you next time. Take care.